Hey Dane, what's up, man? You got any voice left after calling that amazing
Ah,
games today?
oh man, I barely. I'm just holding on. I was sucking lemons earlier and drinking
Yeah,
water and everything I could find to rehydrate after the high of highs today. We got back out there in the trenches, so to speak, on the softball diamond. So it was
it was
great to
fun,
be
man.
out there again. Yeah.
We've been spoiled in the studio for months now, man. Getting back on the field. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's old hat. You think, man, I need a break. But once you get out there again, you think, why did I take a break?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's so fun to do. And today with the guest we have on today, I mean, he made it a great day for us to be calling games, and it was just a fun day, and they did a great job as a team.
Yeah, today was awesome, Dan. We make it a point, as all of you know, we make it a point to always come back to local. And when you get to be local and showcase, not that everyone's all not part of the family, but when you're showcasing a chaos specific, makes it just a little bit sweeter. So it'll be a
Yep.
local interview
Yep.
tonight with Coach Denny, which we'll bring on in a second. But Dane, I got to take a minute, man, talk about today, dude. So yesterday, Chaos Black, our very own Chaos Black, Dan, you were there, got to capture it. Yesterday was a rough day. They went 0 and 0, 1 and 2 yesterday, Dane.
Yep.
And then came in today just scrapping, just pound for pound. Nobody
Yeah.
could tell them no. Made it all the way to the championship game. Was that
Yep.
what a turn of events, Dane? How did you think
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
today?
Yeah. And every game yesterday was just down to the wire. So it was just
Yeah.
seemed to be a matter of ironing out a couple of wrinkles. And once that happened, it was all hands on deck. We're going to do this today, and the results showed it that they ironed everything out.
I'm ready to get to it, Dan. I know they call him Pastor Jeff, and after the sermon on the mound he gave today, turned into a heck of a day. So let's get right down to it and bring on Chaos Black, Coach Denny. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for coming on. Our pleasure to have you.
Yeah, Coach. I'm sure there's so many stories, man. And again, we're so blessed to have you. We're glad to have you part of Chaos. Of course, Coach Steve and Captain Chris doing a great job as well. I'm glad to have you taking over the helm, man. But I'm curious, before working with Chaos and Chaos Black and turning this team into this juggernaut that it is, man, take me back in the day. I know you've been coaching long before this and beyond. When did you first start coaching, man? How old were you, and when did it all begin for you as a coach?
Well, so I started coaching, I would say, it's been 7 years ago, and we just kind of started off. It wasn't even softball; it was soccer.
Okay.
I have three girls, so I kind of sat back for a while, and they started getting involved in sports at a younger age, and we were living up in Mays, and kind of got in the rec scene, and I kind of sat back and was watching and watching, and I've always wanted to be a coach. I've always have, always will. When I was young, so it just kind of started with soccer, and then they kind of taken a liking to softball,
Yeah.
and their cousins play competitive softball. So when we moved down here to Conway, they really started to see that side of softball and like what it could be. So they got this big interest into it, and so did I, because I'm involved with them. I like to be a part of what they're doing, of course. So instead of just sitting in the stands watching, I decided, well, I'm going to jump on the field and start coaching. So we started coaching just down here in Conway, just rec league, having fun, watching them grow, and that's kind of how the whole thing kind of started rolling, was
I
just the
love it.
rec. And then it just, with my nieces playing in competitive, we got to come up and see that side of it, which is a lot different in rec, of course.
Mhm.
And it really just it bit me with a bug, like, wow, this is really something up here. So we decided to finally get the girls. We asked them, say, if this is something you want to do, let's go try. And that's how it kind
Mhm.
of started with everything. So we just moved up here to play up in Wichita and around the area.
Love it, man. Dane,
Yeah.
we've heard of many coaches. Dane, did you take two? Haven't we heard many coaches talk about out of necessity greatness, Dane? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Go ahead, man.
Now, when you were growing up, did you play baseball yourself as a young man?
Yeah, so I played baseball. That's one of my main sports growing up.
Mhm.
We I was in the military. I was a military kid, so we moved a lot. So we moved to California, and that's when I first started playing. I think I was about 7 or 8. And over there, it's a lot different when it was back in the '80s, because we didn't have a coach pitch. We didn't have that. Like,
Yeah.
you went straight to kid pitch.
Mhm.
Um, so I kind of started there and kind of worked my way up, and then we finally moved to Kansas in '90. So I started playing travel ball when I got here. We didn't know that existed till we came to Kansas, and so
Huh.
we started traveling around South Central Kansas. And fortunate for me as a younger kid, we just had a lot of talent around where we were at with the kids in my class. So
Mhm.
we did very well, and it was fun. So yeah, I mean, baseball was a major part of my childhood. So
Love it. Love it.
So what are some of the things, I guess, kind of start with some of the similarities with baseball and softball, and then maybe some of the differences that, you kind of learned along the way that you kind of ironed out through the coaching years.
So I think a lot of the similarities come down to two things: attitude and effort.
Hmm.
It translates not only from softball to every sport you play. It could be an individual
Mm-hmm.
sport. It still comes down to your attitude, your effort. You put that together, and it's a team attitude effort. I mean, that'll always be the most similar thing that you could possibly imagine as far as sports go.
Hmm.
It's
I
those
love
two
it.
things. Um, that and just the way the game's played. I mean, the simple things you do makes you great. You don't have to overcomplicate things. Baseball's the same way. I mean, if you get
Yep.
too much into it, it gets difficult and it's hard to understand. Keep it simple
That's good.
and it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's powerful, man. I'm thinking about that. That's the bumper stickers and the things I write down from all the sermons you've already preached is keeping it simple, man. The simple things are great. That's awesome. You
I mean,
know,
I think
go ahead, man.
I'm sorry. I think the differences that you guys were talking about. I mean, I don't see much differences in the two sports really. I mean, yeah, the hitting is approached differently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't see a lot of differences from baseball to softball. To me, I don't. I mean, it's kind of like what they call soccer, the beautiful game. I call that baseball, softball. To me, that's the beautiful
Mm-hmm.
game. So
I love
I
it.
don't really see the differences too much in the sports.
I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
When you think about Dane, as I'm looking at influences and it's very quick, man. And we've been blessed with great coaches who have had their role in this. Coach Emma, Coach Richard. I think about some of the batons that have been passed on. I even think about
Mm-hmm.
Coach Carissa, who Dane, your wife, has helped us, and Coach Nate. Now the influence you're leaving on this, it's very very endearing, and I know they
Yeah.
love you, Coach, because they do this Pastor Jeff thing, but they love you. It's kind of like a token of respect, right? So there's quickly the influence you put all over the field. You can
Yeah.
see it between your coaching staff and the parents. I know even in the first couple of parent meetings, you talked about, hey, parents, we got to come together and
Yeah.
kind of be, a different caliber of team. So
Yeah.
obviously the roots go deep early, and what you've planted in our teams. Who's influenced you, man? Who's been the go-to influences for you as a coach or maybe even an athlete, on you?
Oh, for me, I mean, it goes back to my dad. I mean, it's one of those things. Growing up in the military, like I said, I mean, I was raised in a very direct way. So, I mean, I was always trying to make him proud, and that
Yeah.
was my number one thing, and make my dad proud. If I see him smile and he's telling me good job, that meant the world to me. So, I mean, he's probably my number one inspiration. I mean, I just look up to him for everything. I mean, I let him ask him for guidance all the time. If I'm struggling with something, I call him. He's always been there. I mean, so that's probably my number one inspiration. Now, as far as guidance goes, I mean, I'm going to reach out to another one of our chaos coaches, and it's Coach Myatt.
Uh-huh.
I've sat through a ton of his practices. My daughter plays for him, Gracie, and so I've taken a lot away from Coach Myatt. The
Mm-hmm.
way he runs his practices, his demeanor, the attitude, the expectations that he has. I've taken a ton from him. He's
Yeah.
inspired me a lot. Like he's really, when it comes to coaching at this level, I guess, and trying to take it to another level, like where they're at, because they're very successful. I take pieces from that. You look at stuff that's
Mm-hmm.
around you, and you try and surround yourself with successful people. I mean, if
Yeah.
you do that, you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
So I've I've just I've just really honed in on him.
I love
Um,
that. Yeah.
Coach Tony Short, another one. I mean, I like his gentleness, his approach. So
Yep.
that's something I'm trying to get better at. So I model myself, trying to get to his practice or be around him to kind of listen to how he talks and how he
Mm-hmm.
gets his message across. Because I mean, that's something I've always had to work on. Sometimes I'm too direct, or sometimes I think I'm overbearing. So you always got to look at yourself to be better, right? So
Mhm.
you pick out people that you see that are doing well with those things, and you learn. So
I love that, man. I'm thinking Dane and I, we had the privilege of when he spoke of Coach Short's great Coach Maya. We interviewed him on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Remember, he was our Christmas miracle, Dane. Remember
Yeah.
that? So
Yeah.
I love it, Dane. Go ahead, man.
Now that you got that first tournament under your belt, I mean, and obviously we can't say congratulations enough about what you guys did this weekend. What's next on the horizon for you? What does your tournament schedule look like going through this fall session? And then what are your hopes to do during the winter break to kind of help this team, like we said, get to that next level?
Yeah.
great question. So I like to play a lot of softball. We have a hot and heavy fall schedule, and it'll continue to be that way in the spring and summer. I love to play ball. I like to get them on the field and get them out there going.
Yeah.
So we've had this one down. We have four more to go. My goal this fall is to have us playing one B level tournament. I want to see and
Mm.
evaluate where we're at and how we're doing, because that's our ultimate goal. Is we want to be a B level team come spring summer.
Mhm.
I'm My expectations are always extremely high. I feel like just in the short amount of time I've been around these girls, and especially the parents, that we have the ability to do it. I told everybody that in our parent meeting, that I feel like we're a very high level C team, if not a low level B team, walking into it. It just comes down to, do we buy into what we want to do, and how are we going to get there? If we buy in, I'll get you to where you want to go. It's just, we can't just talk about it. We got to be about it. That's the thing.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
spring, summer, we'll probably play roughly 9 tournaments. If we are really successful and let's say we get into B and we're competitive, I'll keep our C class. And then if I feel like we're able to go compete at nationals, that might be something on the map.
So are you guys looking to maybe expand out and travel a little bit more during that spring summer session?
So spring, summer, yeah, we'll probably travel 2 to 3 times. I'd like to take them down to Oklahoma for maybe an open tournament. And I like to go to Kansas City probably twice, or if not, maybe go to the Lawrence for the Jayhawk thing. That might be a good one.
Love
too.
it. I love it.
Excellent.
I think about, and again, I say mad respect to all the coaches we've worked with. And I think as we've grown this team and like I said, the baton passing, and now to hear again, Dane, we talked about this many times, man. Gray, the flagship team, and then as it expands and Maya is now making that benchmark. And now we're saying Khaos Black also in the same breath as national. It's a good feeling. Wouldn't you agree, Dane? That's awesome.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean, like we said, Coach Nate has built something that's expanding, and great attitudes like yourself, Coach, that you have whenever you go to coach these young minds. Again, to borrow a phrase from you, you surround yourself with great people, you're going to do great things. And that's what, we love about this Khaos organization. He's brought on coaches like yourself, Coach Mitchell and Tony Short, obviously Myatt, some of your influences, and all the things that you guys do make this whole Khaos family move forward in the right way, and anybody that sees you guys out there knows that each of you has a passion for what you're doing, and in turn, the girls that you coach love you. So you're doing something well, and we hope nothing but great things for you in the future.
It's been fun, man.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Coach, I told you, thank you for being an avid listener, man. We always come to a segment that every episode we make our listeners laugh, and we make our guests laugh. So, a thing or two about rapid fire, right, Coach?
I know about it. Yeah, we're good.
So there's a little segment, and this goes shout out to Megan Coleman, Coach Jesse's wife, brought some questions for us, delivered them to us, and we put a little disclaimer out. It says, hey, if anyone would like to throw some rapid, now we take them when we word them up a little bit, but we got the base questions from Megan. So Megan, I appreciate your lead on this one. I did go ahead and make them a little weirder, because that's how we do, So, Coach, this is gonna peel back another layer of your personality on this. And as you know the drill, you can't not answer one, man. No matter how weird it gets, you got to answer one. Okay. So now this first one, there's a lot of food questions tonight. So Megan must have been really hungry when she sent these to us. So we're gonna go off the deep end with this one, man. But so the first question, we know you're pretty serious, even though you're a joking kind of guy. Sometimes when you're coaching, you have that mode, kind of a serious mode, which we get, but how Scream's coming up. It's coming up next month, and there's going to be some contests and things like that. But let's take for a minute as we dive into rapid fire and imagine this is not just a contest, but you get to be morphed into this entity for a day, and you have to be this entity while you're coaching for a day. Okay, and your choices, and that, by the way, once you pull this off, they're going to sponsor you. You get a Khaos sponsorship, so we'll give you that as well. So you get to turn into a life-size, full-blown bugle chip. The bugle chip itself, or a Cool Ranch Dorito. You have to be a bugle chip or a Cool Ranch Dorito and run out there and coach on the field. Which one are you going with, Coach?
I'll be the Dorito.
Man, I had the bugle, Dane. What'd you have, man? Did you have the Dorito, Dane?
Oh yeah, I had a Dorito. You can't beat it. It's timeless.
Oh man, dude. So we bet on these, Coach. So Dane, you got me one up on this one, Dane. So next one, Coach. This is the tattoo question comes up all the time. I don't know why this is just so fascinating for our listeners, but they love the tattoo question. So next one, Coach, in very similar style to other artists and guests that we've asked. Two iconic pizza companies want to sponsor you, Coach Denny. A lot of sponsorship and food questions. As long as you get the tattoo of this type of pizza on your face, We're going to put it right there on the forehead this time. It's not going to be a cheek tattoo. So we're going to go old school forehead tattoo. You got to go with pineapple pizza from Papa John's, or you got to go with supreme pizza from Totino's on your forehead. Or are you going Papa John's or Totino's tattoo on your forehead? Which one are you going with?
We're going with the pineapple.
Oh, man, dude, I am losing, man. I thought I knew you better than this, Coach. Oh, man. Dane, how you doing on that one, man?
No, I missed that one too. I was hoping Supreme.
So
Supreme's
okay,
king there.
so we're you got me 1 for 1. I'm 0 for 2. The next question. So it's you and Coach Stevie. We call him Coach Stevie, the skipper, and you've got Captain Chris now. So you got 3 amazing coaches on the staff, just getting it done, man. Again, shout out to everyone before, but now the baton has been passed. So you guys have to somehow. This turn of events happens, and Khaos has got a Khaos concert coming to town. We're going to basically have a little fundraiser where all of Khaos gets together and has a sponsorship. You guys are asked to fill in, you, Steven, and Chris, as basically taking the place of one of these 2 iconic boy bands. You guys got to boy band it up for the night. You guys got to fill in for either A, NSYNC, or B, Backstreet Boys. Who are you guys filling in for? How are you going to get it done?
Man, that's a tough question. I mean, if I was going to go old school, I'd say Belle Div DeVoe, but we'll go with
Oh, dude, Dane, I am striking out. Dude, I'm 0 for 3 right now, man. I had Backstreet Boys, man. I really did.
Oh, yeah, and so it's in sync. Oh,
I can just see you up there kind of giving it the bye. Now that I see it, I can see you rocking it, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Well, Denny, you're letting me down, Coach. I'm gonna have to have a talk with you, Coach. Practice. So next one, man. There's 2 more rapid. So there's a lot of movie elements, and coaches and athletes and musicians find themselves into movies. This is a 2-part question. First of all, the first part of this question: do you agree, as you should, that Die Hard is a Christmas movie? Because that's how I'll respond to you with the next part.
Oh, it's a Christmas movie.
Good. Okay, we can proceed. It's all good. Dane, we know we have to answer that question.
Yeah. So definitely.
So Denny, these 2 iconic Christmas movies, they're asking you to reprise the role, and they somehow take you back into when these movies began, and you fill in as the lead character for these 2 movies. Either A, you're going to fill in for old Bruce Willis himself and be the lead character. You're going to be the John McClane in Die Hard. Or B, you're going to go back to Batman Returns, and you're going to Michael Keaton it as your Batman Returns and Batman 2, which is also the iconic Christmas movie. You going Die Hard or Batman? Which one are you going with?
I was not much of a Batman guy growing up, so I'm going to have to go Die Hard.
And Dane, that concludes the interview. No, I'm kidding. Dude, I am 0 for 4, and I'm a Batman lover, Coach, so we're now going to have to figure out some way to get along, Coach. No, I'm kidding, man. Dane, did you have that one?
Oh, yeah. You can't go wrong with Die Hard. John McClane, he's the man. He's the man.
Well, this one's for all the marbles, Dane. I'm definitely not going to beat you, Dane, but this last one, Coach. So you also, along with your coaching staff for the day, you also get to have 2 of these, I guess you call it urban legends. I don't know what you want to call it, but gets to join you. I guess be your 4th coach for the day for one game. I don't know if this terrify the kids or encourage them, but you can either have Sasquatch come hang out with you guys and coach for the day, or you could have the legendary Darth Vader be your 4th coach for the day. Which one do you go with?
This is awesome, because the first one he said is I was already going to ask and say and request if it wasn't on the list, and it's Sasquatch. That's hilarious.
It's awesome. So you can have Sasquatch as your heading coach for the day. Dane, did you have that one?
Yeah, I did, but that was a tough one, because if you're trailing the game, Darth Vader can maybe move the ball a little bit with the force there. So that's a tough one to call.
well, Dane, you won that round, so I will get you some taquitos at the next Khaos Gray game. Okay, man.
There we go. There we go.
Well, thank you, Coach Denny, man. I was always being a good sport, and I'll give it back to Dane. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, on this segment, Coach, we call it open mic. We open the floor up to our guests to kind of maybe tell the younger viewers, or even some of your team and some of the Khaos girls, maybe a philosophy or a mantra that you may have carried throughout, your years of playing and now into coaching, that you go back to whenever you need maybe a pick me up or to remind yourself to keep going. Is there something maybe you can pass down to them to kind of help them on their journey as well?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So we actually had this conversation today before the tournament started this morning. We had a rough day yesterday, And sometimes when you have those situations as a coach, you have to go back and you have to kind of reevaluate what you've done as a coach and kind of what you've done on the field. Um, and I've always went back to keep it simple, right? So I say there's two things that help a team win a lot, and it's attitude and effort, which that's always there. But something I've kind of learned a lot in this past year of coaching was it's all mental. A lot of the game is mental, and you got to have heart. If you don't have those two things, it's really hard to be successful, not only in softball, but just in life. There's gonna be tough times, and if you get down, I mean, the one thing that gets you back is being mentally tough and having a strong heart. Same thing on the ball field. You get out there, and let's say you get 5 runs stuck to you. You got to come back. It's a mental thing. Can we do it? Can we pull through? And then we got to have the heart to do it. I always say that the will to win and the heart sometimes outdoes talent. Talent helps, but if you have those two things, you sometimes will beat teams that are just a lot more talented than you are because you just want it so much more. So, I mean, you got to just keep it simple, simple, simple. Have a lot of heart, have a lot of faith.
Man, I make notes every time, Dan, and before you kind of lead off on that one, man, I look back over yesterday and today, and there's this phrase called true believer, and I watched you yesterday, man. You never, if you did, we couldn't tell. We never saw you yesterday stop believing in the kids. I know you did, and there's something about coaches. All of you guys have a different blood type. I swear it's like B positive or something, because you're always very, very like positive, and you find a way to believe when the kids aren't even believing. We're like, okay, well, kind of yesterday we left, everybody had our heads down, and to be honest, we were all kind of deflated yesterday. We come up this morning, and it's just this, like you said, sticking to the game plan, keeping it simple, having the heart, and just resetting and knowing. And you knew, even if we didn't know it at the time, that we were going to advance. And Dane helped me out because that's just incredible, man. So
I mean, you got to remind the girls what got them there. It sounds like that. You've done it 100 times. And like you always say in sports, if you want to do it great once, you got to do it 1,000 times. And that's the kind of thing that what you said, keep it simple. You practice that same grounder every time. You practice that same rhythm of swinging that same way every time. And then once it comes to the game, you can't help but do it right. So keeping it simple, like you said, is a great message.
So, Coach Denny, I have this question for you, man, because you said something, and I wrote this down too. And you said doing the little things what makes you great. And I felt like that kind of stuck out to me as well, what I'm thinking. And I watched you practice after practice, man. Now we've been practicing together for a couple months. And maybe you can expand on this, because I watched you do this drill probably 65 billion times Wednesday night. And it was pop fly after pop fly. And you would say, hey, anyone that gets dropped has to run. Walk me through that, man. How did you learn this? Like, there's such a power and repetition, man. Where'd you get that from? Because that's just those types of things that you do are so powerful,
Well, so I mean, when I come to my practices, the way I lay out my game plans, because I like to be very organized. I don't like to walk into something and just kind of just go with the flow in my practice. I like to have a plan. I think about it, because just a little background on me. So I mow all day. I sit on a mower and I mow because I own a landscaping business. So all day I either listen to podcast, or I'm just listening to music, but I'm thinking softball, always thinking softball, And so with this team, sorry, fellas, with this team, I think about them nonstop. What can we do better? How can we do this better? And so when I get to these practices, I tell the girls, there's always a standard. Like, some teams are okay being just an okay team. Some teams are okay being good. Our standard is none of those. It's to be excellent in everything we do. That's the way I was kind of brought up through high school sports and just in my youth. Don't do something unless you're going to go 100%. And so the repetition thing comes from not letting the girl just settle with making a mistake. Push her, and teach her, and show her, and then do it again and make sure she gets it right. That's why sometimes the girls would look at me like, again, I'm like, let's do it again. Like, we got to be perfect. If I let you guys settle and just being okay at doing it, then when we get in the games, we're just going to be an okay team. So it's just, you've got to stay true. I mean, if I start to let go of my standard, then they're going to let go. So, I mean, it starts with me and it works its way down. So you got to keep pushing.
So to the coaches, man, that's awesome. Dane, talk to me, man. What do you feel about that?
I love it. It's the philosophy of don't do it until you get it right. Do it until you can't get it wrong. So it's that kind of philosophy. So, I mean, it's something that, even with my daughter, the repetition, you're like, again, again. And, you get some, well, obviously with my situation, it's wife and daughter, they're head to head, but they come to the understanding that you got to do it right. You got to do it until you can't get it wrong. So that's a great message to carry across, like you say, not only in sports, but in life as well. So.
I love that, coach, because you're not just coach, as we kind of close this, you're not just making good players, you're making you're contributing also
Yeah,
to life. It's, I know we have
yeah,
our part as parents and all that, but
yeah,
you're teaching them that, hey, like today, I guarantee these kids will go to school this week, coach, when they have a test that they're struggling, they're going to think about what they overcame this weekend. It's
yeah,
going to help them push into that next level. You know what I mean, coach? And stuff besides sport. So thank you for teaching them on and off the field, you know?
yeah,
No problem. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. I mean, sports is just a small part. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
this goes into life. I mean, it's softball and sports are just so interchangeable. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's awesome. You know, we're at the age now where it's sometimes difficult to coach them because they're at the age where, you know, we were talking about boys and we're going to dances and stuff. Where last year, the year before, it was a lot easier because they were like fifth, sixth grade. And now it's like, you know, you got girls in seventh, eighth grade, and things change a lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
you know, I'm learning to, you know, adapt. You know, I have a daughter on the team, so I mean, I do it a lot at home, and when we go to practice, like, I'm trying to understand. But at the same time, it's like you listen to their struggles throughout the day because they bring it to practice, and sometimes they'll even ask your opinion on something. So,
yeah,
you know, it's like I get to be dad too at the same time. Some of these girls, which is
yeah,
kind of
I
fun.
love
I
it.
mean,
I love it, man. I
yeah.
think
And
we're
that,
gonna go
I
ahead,
was
Dan.
gonna say, and that's what we hear from a lot of coaches. You know, kind of indirectly, they wear so many hats during the season that, you know, I'm not just your coach. I can be your psychiatrist, your psychologist, father figure. I mean, anything you need me to be, I'll be that. You know, and that's what makes, I think, the future for you and your team so bright. So
Yeah.
it's watch you this weekend. I mean, I've watched you on your other teams that you've coached from a distance, but seeing it up close, it's something great that, you know, I think is going to carry you to a lot of success in the future. So congratulations on this weekend. To
Mm.
start the season like that for you on a new team is something great, and I can't wait to watch you guys
Yeah.
play again.
Love it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Coach, I made this note in closing because I now the team is fully yours and we're fully behind you. We believe in the
Yeah,
vision of what you're doing. I wrote this note because you were with us in one or two tournaments before taking the reins, and I thought this was so fascinating. How, again, and every coach has their style. You didn't want to announce that you were there. You didn't want to make a thing. You wanted to watch and absorb and absorb. We were in Dekarsky, and you were there, just absorbing all the teams and watching. And I thought that was so fascinating how you wanted to just study and just familiarize yourself with the culture and what we were doing. So just a student of the game, man. No wonder you're so successful at what you do because you're always
yeah,
studying and plotting. And
yeah,
I just I wish there was a way to thank you even more than we already have, man. So I appreciate all you're
yeah,
doing for this team and the place you'll be taking us. Okay. So
yeah,
No problem. Appreciate you guys. It's been a lot of fun, and you know, and we get to hang out together a lot because you know you're
yeah,
doing the games for us. Your daughter's on the team, so it's been awesome. I mean, it's been a
yeah,
really
man.
good time.
It's amazing. It's just the best is yet to come as we continue to grow. Again, we're glad you're with the Chaos family. As we saw today in the championship game, Chaos Black versus Chaos Gold, it is a Chaos family affair. So,
yeah,
and this family goes deep. Even previous coaches, again, I keep going back to shout out to Coach Emma, Coach Richard, who coached in previous. They were watching. The family never stops being the family. So,
yeah,
welcome to the family, and we're with you as you lead us. And we'll make sure this is a recurring thing. We'll have you on sooner
yeah,
than later again. And good luck on the rest of the season. Okay,
yeah,
coach? So,
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
We'll be in
Thank you for
touch,
coming
coach.
on.
Have a good night, coach.
You too.
So, Dane, I'm telling you, man, the philosophy, the drive, the way he carries himself, and the way he believes, man, he believes it when maybe at a time when no one else is believing it. What'd you think of him, Dane?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've watched him from a distance whenever he was with his other teams, and you know, to see it up close, it's something magical that, you know, all these girls are going to learn something beyond softball, which is the whole point of this. You know, this sport is to teach them to be better girls, better women, better people in the future,
Mm,
to build on something, a philosophy in life. So
man,
it's great to see that, you know, like you say, this organization gets individuals that volunteer their time, which is the most admirable thing, to volunteer your time to somebody else's kid to teach them something that, you know, is going to carry them for the rest of their life. So there's not
man.
enough congratulations to people like Coach Denny.
He kept going back to the simple things make you great, the little things make you
Yeah,
great, right? And I'm just, if you watch him, guys, if you ever get a chance, I know we try to live stream in at practices at times and all that. For those of you worldwide, not just in Kansas, I think the philosophy of what this guy does is it works, keeps us calm. You know, sometimes you got to be the coach of many hats, but sometimes you also got to put that aside and you got business to do. I think that's
Yeah.
neat too, where we've quickly come to respect philosophy that maybe sometimes it's not the position that we want for that inning, but it's for the betterment of the entire organization of the team.
Yep.
And the girls are bought into that. Hey, what's my role? Me and Tatum were talking about that even today. Hey, what's my role? Put me where I need to be in the philosophy.
Yep.
I can be where I'm needed, where my best talent is. And I can't wait to see that culture grow and just, hey, we're all a family. We all have a role to do,
Definitely.
Dane, you and I talked about that for softball, all the parents out there, not just Chaos, but the organizations, whether it's our Blue Sox family or 316 or Nitro or on and on, right? Everybody's got a part of what they do, whether you're media or you're the music person, or maybe your job is to help take down all the stuff. We're all a family, right? So
definitely.
Man, that was good, Dane.
Well,
didn't it feel good to get back to locals tonight, Dane?
Yeah, I love it. I'm always excited to get to local. I love everybody that we brought on, but nothing like some home cooking, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, that was definitely home cooked. It was good to get back. I was missing softball a little bit, Dane. I really was, and that's our flagship. And we've just been having such a time with these musicians. We're like, we need to get some home cooked softball back on, man. So, Wichita, please give a warm welcome again when you hear this for Coach Denny. Many of you already know him, but just many more things to come. So, Dane, we'll change up our style. So, just be known, folks, we've got many more episodes to come. Lots of mix of sports, softball, music, and other athletes. So as we close this, don't forget, as always, that we love you. And Dane,
thank you for listening.